Welcome to Reliable Prepper, your trusted source for survival tips and strategies. Today, we're diving deep into the top 15 mistakes you absolutely must avoid as a prepper. We're not just scratching the surface here, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty, providing you with actionable steps to ensure you're fully prepared for whatever comes your way. Our goal is to ensure you're well prepared for any situation, whether it's a natural disaster, economic collapse, or any other emergency. But before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of our future content. And hey, while you're at it, follow us on Facebook at Reliable Prepper for tips and updates on everything survival. Let's kick things off with food storage, one of the most basic but critical aspects of prepping. Now, you might think that just stockpiling canned goods and non-perishables is enough, but here's the mistake. If you don't rotate your food, you're setting yourself up for a serious problem down the line. Canned goods and dried foods do have a long shelf life, but they don't last forever. The key here is a simple system called first in, first out, or FIFO. Here's how it works. Every time you buy new food, place it behind the older items in your storage. When it's time to use something, grab the oldest items first. This ensures nothing gets too old and reduces the risk of food spoilage. Set a reminder every 6 months to check expiration dates and move older items to the front. And don't forget to consume what you store. If you don't like canned beans now, you won't like them in a crisis either. Rotate your stock and adjust your storage based on what your family actually eats. Water is life, but storing gallons of water is only part of the equation. The mistake many preppers make is neglecting the purification aspect. Sure, you've got water stored, but what happens when that supply runs dry or is compromised? Do you have a way to make contaminated water safe? The solution? You need multiple layers of water purification. Invest in high-quality water filters like the Berkey system, which can handle large volumes and remove bacteria and viruses. But don't stop there. You should also have portable water filters like the Sawyer Mini or Life Straw in your bug-out bag. Water purification tablets are another must-have for your emergency kits. They're lightweight and effective for short-term needs. And here's an actionable step practice using these tools now. Take a weekend, go camping, and rely on local water sources using your purification methods. This will not only familiarize you with the process, but also ensure your gear works when you need it most. One of the most dangerous mistakes you can make is buying survival gear and just storing it away without testing it first. Your gear is only as good as your ability to use it. Imagine you're in the middle of a crisis and your generator doesn't start because you never bothered to test it, or your water filter fails because it's defective. So, here's what you do. Every piece of equipment you buy, you test it out. Generators? Run them for a few hours and make sure you understand the maintenance. Water filters? Use them with actual water to ensure they work properly. Fire starters? Practice making fires in various conditions. This way, you're not just relying on theory or YouTube videos. You know from personal experience that your gear works. Remember, in a crisis, there are no do-overs. Make it a habit to periodically check and maintain all your gear. A once-a-month checkup routine can save your life. Stockpiling supplies at home is great, but what if you're forced to evacuate? This is where many preppers fall short. You need a plan for mobility. Without it, all those supplies could be left behind when you need them the most. Here's an actionable plan. Start with a go bag. This isn't just a backpack with a few snacks. Your go bag should be a well-thought-out kit that contains everything you need to survive for at least 72 hours away from home. This includes water, food, first aid supplies, clothing, and tools like a multi-tool, flashlight, and a portable charger for your devices. Next, plan your evacuation routes. Identify multiple routes out of your area and practice them. If you have family members, everyone should know the plan and the designated meeting spots. Keep your vehicle ready too. It should have at least half a tank of gas at all times, and consider keeping a small amount of cash hidden in your car for emergencies. If you're finding this information useful, make sure to hit that like button and share this video with your fellow preppers. And don't forget, we're constantly sharing tips like these on Facebook. So be sure to follow Reliable Prepper there for daily updates and more in-depth survival strategies. It's easy to think that because you've got a stockpile of supplies, you're safe. But without a security plan, all those resources could be taken from you in an instant. The mistake here is neglecting the human element of preparedness. In a crisis, desperate people do desperate things, and you need to be ready to defend what's yours. First, secure your home. Reinforce doors with deadbolts and consider installing security bars on windows. A good alarm system is worth the investment, as it can deter intruders and alert you to danger. But beyond physical barriers, think about surveillance. Install cameras that cover all entry points and make sure they're set up to record footage even during power outages. But what if things escalate? Have a personal defense plan. This could include firearms, but it's crucial to know how to use them safely and legally. If you're not comfortable with firearms, consider other options like pepper spray, tasers, or even a well-trained guard dog. Preparing for a specific disaster like an EMP is a common strategy, but the mistake lies in focusing too narrowly. The reality is, crises come in many forms: economic collapse, natural disasters, pandemics, civil unrest, you name it. If you're only prepared for one type of event, you're vulnerable to the others. Here's how to broaden your preparedness. Conduct a risk assessment. List the potential threats in your area, from natural disasters like hurricanes or earthquakes to man-made threats like industrial accidents or economic downturns. For each threat, outline the specific preparations you need, from evacuation plans to stockpiles and security measures. Diversify your supplies as well. Don't just stockpile for one scenario. For example, if you're preparing for an EMP, also consider what you'd need if you had to bug out due to a wildfire. This way, your preps cover a broader range of possibilities, making you more adaptable and resilient. Stockpiling food and water is vital, but many preppers underestimate the importance of medical supplies. The mistake? Thinking a basic first aid kit is enough. In a long-term crisis, medical issues are almost inevitable, whether it's a cut that gets infected, a sprain, or more serious conditions like a heart attack or chronic illness. Here's what you can do. First, expand your first aid kit to include a broader range of items, things like antiseptics, burn creams, pain relievers, and wound care supplies. But don't stop there. You also need to stock up on over-the-counter medications like antihistamines, anti-inflammatory drugs, and treatments for common ailments like colds, flu, and allergies. If you or a family member require prescription medications, try to keep an extra supply if possible, and rotate it regularly to ensure it's within its expiration date. Additionally, consider investing in a comprehensive medical manual that covers emergency procedures. It's not enough just to have the supplies. You need to know how to use them. Take a basic first aid and CPR course, and if possible, learn some more advanced skills like how to suture wounds or treat shock. These skills could be the difference between life and death in a crisis situation. Stockpiling food is a no-brainer, but a common mistake is focusing too heavily on one or two staples like rice and beans. While these are great for bulk storage, relying on them alone can lead to nutrient deficiencies and food fatigue, which can weaken your body and morale. To prevent this, aim for a balanced diet in your preps. Store a variety of proteins such as canned meats, freeze-dried eggs, and nuts. Include different carbohydrates like pasta, oats, and quinoa. Don't forget fats, which are critical for long-term energy and brain function. Things like cooking oils, peanut butter, and canned butter can be lifesavers. Also, stock up on vitamins and supplements to fill any gaps in your diet. And most importantly, store foods that you and your family actually enjoy eating. In a crisis, comfort foods can be a huge morale booster. Rotate your stockpile and occasionally cook meals using only your stored food to ensure you have the right balance of nutrients and flavors. Personal hygiene might seem secondary in a crisis, but it's actually crucial for preventing illness and maintaining morale. The mistake here is not stockpiling enough hygiene supplies or neglecting this aspect altogether. Here's what you need to do. Stock up on basics like soap, shampoo, toothpaste, and toilet paper. But don't stop there. Consider items that will be crucial in an extended crisis like feminine hygiene products, razors, and even things like nail clippers and deodorant. Wet wipes and hand sanitizers are essential for situations where water is scarce. You should also have a plan for waste management. In a grid-down scenario, toilets might not function properly. So, having portable toilets, plenty of garbage bags, and sanitation chemicals will be necessary to maintain hygiene. Another often overlooked aspect is dental care. Stock up on extra toothbrushes, toothpaste, and dental floss. Poor oral hygiene can lead to infections, which could become serious if medical care is not readily available. If you wear glasses or contacts, Make sure you have a backup pair or extra lenses and solution. To round this out, periodically assess your hygiene supplies, ensuring you have at least a year's worth on hand. Incorporate these items into your daily routine now so that if a crisis does occur, there's no adjustment period. Communication is key in any crisis, yet many preppers overlook this crucial aspect. The mistake here is assuming that traditional communication methods like cell phones will always be available. In a widespread disaster, networks could go down, making it impossible to contact loved ones or get vital information. To prepare, invest in alternative communication tools. Two-way radios like walkie-talkies can keep you in touch with family members over short distances. For longer distances, consider a ham radio setup. These require a bit of knowledge to use effectively, so make sure you take the time to get licensed and practice using them before an emergency strikes. You should also establish a communication plan with your family. This includes having a designated meeting point and backup locations if you're separated. Agree on code words or phrases to indicate whether it's safe to return home or if the situation is too dangerous. Keep written copies of important phone numbers and addresses in your bug-out bag in case your phone dies or you're unable to access digital information. Finally, stay informed. Invest in a battery-powered or hand-crank NOAA weather radio to receive emergency broadcasts. Knowledge is power, and staying informed can help you make critical decisions when every second counts. In today's world, much of our important information is stored digitally. The mistake here is failing to secure that data in case of a crisis. If your home is destroyed, or if you're forced to evacuate quickly, you could lose access to critical documents like identification, insurance policies, and medical records. To safeguard your digital data, start by scanning all important documents and storing them on an encrypted USB drive. Make multiple copies and store them in different locations, one at home, one in your bug-out bag, and another with a trusted friend or relative in a different area. You might also consider using a cloud storage service that offers end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data is secure and accessible from anywhere. But don't rely solely on digital copies. Keep physical copies of the most important documents in a waterproof, fireproof safe at home. This should include things like birth certificates, social security cards, deeds, and passports. Lastly, consider your cybersecurity. Use strong, unique passwords for your online accounts and enable two-factor authentication where possible. In a crisis, the last thing you want is to be dealing with identity theft or hacked accounts. So take these steps now to secure your digital life. Many preppers rely solely on generators for backup power, but generators require fuel, which may not always be available. This mistake can leave you without power when you need it most. To avoid this, invest in alternative power sources such as solar panels, wind turbines, or even hand-crank generators. These can provide electricity without relying on fuel. Solar panels are especially useful because they can recharge during the day and store power for nighttime use. Wind turbines, depending on your location, can provide a consistent power source as well. Additionally, consider storing rechargeable batteries and devices that require minimal power. LED lanterns, battery-operated fans, and portable power banks can keep your essential electronics running. The key is to have a diversified energy plan that doesn't rely on a single source. Your bug-out bag is your lifeline if you have to evacuate quickly, but overloading it can turn it into a burden rather than a help. The mistake here is trying to pack everything you think you might need, rather than focusing on the essentials. To avoid this, start by prioritizing the rule of threes: 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. Your bug-out bag should address these priorities first. Include items like a good knife, fire-starting tools, a portable water filter, and enough high-energy food for 3 days. Next, consider the weight. Your bag should ideally weigh no more than 20% of your body weight. Test it out by going on a hike with it fully loaded. If it's too heavy or uncomfortable, start cutting items or finding lighter alternatives. Remember, in a bug-out situation, speed and mobility are crucial. Finally, regularly check and rotate the items in your bug-out bag. Make sure food and water are fresh, batteries are charged, and clothing is appropriate for the season. Consider having different bags for different scenarios, such as an urban kit for city dwellers and a wilderness kit if you live in a more rural area. Having a solid plan and the best gear won't do you any good if your family doesn't know what to do. One of the biggest mistakes is assuming that you alone can handle everything in a crisis. Everyone in your household needs to be on the same page. Start by discussing your emergency plans with your family. Make sure everyone knows where the emergency supplies are stored, how to use them, and what to do in different scenarios. This includes knowing how to shut off utilities, where to find the first aid kit, and how to operate any defensive tools you have. Next, conduct regular drills. This could be as simple as a fire drill or as complex as a full bug-out simulation. Practice different scenarios, such as what to do if a family member is missing or if the primary evacuation route is blocked. These drills not only help everyone learn the plan, but also reveal any gaps or weaknesses that need to be addressed. Additionally, ensure that each family member has a role. Assign responsibilities based on strengths and capabilities. For example, one person could be in charge of grabbing the bug-out bags, while another handles communication. This not only makes the plan more efficient, but also helps everyone feel more involved and prepared. One of the most dangerous mistakes preppers can make is discussing their preparations too freely. It might be tempting to share your plans with friends, neighbors, or even on social media, but this can backfire. The more people know about your preps, the more likely they are to come knocking, or worse, in a crisis. First and foremost, practice operational security, or OPSEC. This means keeping your preparedness plans, stockpiles, and even your skills under wraps. You don't need to lie, but you should be vague about what you have and what you're planning. For example, if someone asks about your generator, you might say, "Oh, it's just a small one, nothing fancy," rather than detailing its capacity and fuel supply. Gas-powered engines in particular can attract attention from far away. The sound of a running generator or chainsaw is like a beacon to those who are desperate. To mitigate this, consider using quieter alternatives when possible, such as solar power. If you must use gas-powered equipment, try to do so discreetly, perhaps during times when other ambient noise is high. Also, think about who you trust with your plans. While it's good to have a network of like-minded individuals, be cautious about who you let into your inner circle. Not everyone who seems trustworthy actually is, especially when resources are scarce. Develop a core group of reliable, trusted individuals and keep sensitive information within that circle. And there you have it, 15 critical mistakes that preppers often make, and more importantly, how you can avoid them. The key takeaway is to be thorough in your preparations, cover all your bases, and continuously review and adapt your plans as circumstances change. Remember, it's not about being paranoid, it's about being prepared. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe to Reliable Prepper. We're here to help you stay ready for whatever comes your way. And don't miss out on our tips and updates. Follow us on Facebook at Reliable Prepper. Together, we can build a community that's ready for anything. Stay safe, stay prepared, and we'll see you in the next video.